bronze medalist at the World Championships, goes in heat 4 for England. There's the lineup: Gelenheis of Namibia, Timbaki of Vanuatu, Anthony Cox of Jamaica, Solomon of Australia, Steve Solomon, watch him, Kumar of Sri Lanka, Desroy Jordan of St Vincent and the Grenadines, and Lara of Trinidad and Tobago on the outside. So with only 3 non-automatic qualifier spots, that's make the first 3 or you're not going to make it through to the semis, is really the message. There is Lara, 46.92 man this year. He'll be running blind. His personal best was last year, 46.4. In lane 7 for St Vincent and the Grenadines. He's actually the national 800 metres champion this year. Desroy Jordan, the 21-year-old, best of 47.76 this year. In 6, Kolinga Kumar of Sri Lanka, 3 times their champion and the reigning champion. Set his personal best actually, but back on the 23rd of April. He hasn't raced since the middle of June. In 5, the very experienced Australian Steve Solomon, 8th in the Olympic Games in London 2012. Remember that, 10 years ago now. A semi-finalist in Tokyo last year, and he holds the Australian record for 400 indoors at 45.4. Good athlete. There's Anthony Cox of Jamaica. Had COVID in Eugene, but was able to compete in the heats of the 4x400 for his nation. Came 3rd in the Jamaican Championships earlier on this summer. There's Obedia Timbaki of Vanuatu. Went out in his heat for the World Championships, the 19-year-old, best of 52.85 this year, and that is his lifetime best. And then in 2 is Dani Gelenheis of Namibia, 21 in a few days' time, the South African semi-finalist in the African Championships in Mauritius back in early June, but he hasn't raced either since early June, the 20-year-old Gelenheis. 46.4 his best this year. Remember, the first 3 go through by right, so he'll be right on the cusp of it. Will even Dani Gelenheis.
On your marks.
Reigning champion is Makwala. He's up Makwala of Botswana. Indeed, his teammate Babaloki Thebe took out the silver on the Gold Coast back in 2018. So the first heat of 7 then, in the men's 400 metres. Gelenheis in 2, Timbaki of Vanuatu in 3, Cox of Jamaica 4, Solomon of Australia in 5, the Sri Lankan Kumar in 6, Jordan of St Vincent and the Grenadines in 7, and Lara, Trinidad and Tobago in lane 8.
Set.
Well, qualifying from this should be a formality for an athlete of the calibre of Steve Solomon of Australia, but he'll want a solid run. He's in 5 there, right in the centre in the yellow with the greenish shorts, 4th from left at the moment, moving well down the back straight. And actually quickest away is Kumar of Sri Lanka, really quick through the first 200 in that blue strip. He's a 45.8 performer this year, but he leads at the moment by quite some margin. Solomon going okay right in the centre. Inside him, the Jamaican vest of Anthony Cox is moving well around the second bend as they come into the straight. Kumar has given 101% through the first 300. Now he's chased down by the big figure of Cox, the Jamaican, who looks very strong for the last 50. Solomon follows him through, and he's under real pressure here for 3rd place, and I think he just loses out there to Gelenheis of Namibia, who gets 3rd spot. It is the first 3, remember, who go through by right. And I think, despite giving everything for the first 380, it was nearly enough. Kumar of Sri Lanka might just have got run out of it. It was very tight at the line. No doubting the strong finish and fine form of Anthony Cox. Maybe a little bit frustrated after not being able to give his all in Eugene a couple of weeks back because of COVID. But he wins in 45.51. That is only a couple of clicks outside his lifetime best from earlier on this season. And Steve Solomon, 45.98, a solid 2nd for Australia. And it was even Dani Gelenheis of Namibia who took 3rd place, 46.51. Kumar will have to wait and see, but 46.53, I'm not sure it'll be quick enough. Desroy Jordan of St Vincent and the Grenadines, a personal best for him. Significant leap forward, 47.29.
Oh, I was absolutely willing the Sri Lankan 3rd from the left here as we look at it to get himself home in the top 3. It was a really bold piece of running because he knew the likes of Cox of Jamaica and Solomon, who seems to have been around for a lifetime, made the Olympic final must have been a teenager then, back in 2012. The Sri Lanka knew that they would be coming and closing, and that he'd start wading through treacle towards the back end of the race. Gelenheis did really well to come through in lane 2. Good running by Cox, just off the podium in the World Youth a few years ago. So unlucky to get COVID in Eugene and not be able to perform at his best. It's a good run by Solomon there, and Gelenheis out dipping Kumar. So the Sri Lankan will have to wait to see whether he can claim one of the 3 non-automatic spots. But remember, that's 3 non-automatic spots from 7 heats. Good running by Cox, 3rd in the Jamaican National Champs. Just to make it as any level of international in a Jamaican sprint event shows you the calibre of the man we've just been watching, just off the podium in the World Youth, and he'll be absolutely determined to remind everybody what he could have produced in Eugene had COVID not brought his aspirations at the Worlds to a premature end.
Well, there it is. You can see the fine form of Anthony Cox. Bottom of picture. Working hard with the arms there. And that is very nearly a lifetime best. And I think there's considerably more to come from the 21-year-old. Solomon of Australia in the dark glasses. Moving well, and you can see the effort from even Dani Gelenheis. Here he is with about 40 to go. He's way back in 4th, but he keeps battling away. Kumar by far the smallest of the 4-inch shot, just tying up the stride length going, the knees not coming up over the final meters, and he just gets out dipped by the Namibian, giving himself an early 21st birthday present in effect. There it is. Anthony Cox wins for Jamaica, 45.51, and lovely big capital Q beside his name. Steve Solomon likewise for Australia in 2nd place, and Gelenheis of Namibia taking that precious 3rd spot by 4/100ths of a second. Sorry, 2.
The men's 400-metre contest at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham unfolded as one of the most riveting preliminary battles, blending seasoned competitors with ambitious newcomers. The spotlight was firmly fixed on Jamaica's Anthony Cox, a sprinter eager to erase the memory of his frustrating World Championships in Eugene, where illness robbed him of his sharpness. This race offered him the stage for redemption, and he seized it with authority. The heat brought together a varied cast of athletes: Dani Gelenheis of Namibia, Obedia Timbaki of Vanuatu, Cox of Jamaica, Australia's Steve Solomon, Sri Lanka's Kolinga Kumar, Desroy Jordan of St Vincent and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago's Jereem Lara. With only 3 guaranteed semi-final spots up for grabs, the stakes were brutally clear. There was no room for hesitation. Kumar made the opening statement, charging from the blocks with fearless intensity. He stormed through the back straight and into the curve, building a sizable lead and daring the field to catch him. His aggressive gamble thrilled the crowd but came with a clear warning sign. Sustaining such speed in the punishing 400m is often a dangerous bargain. As the athletes hit the final bend, experience began to tell. Cox, gliding with balance and power, opened his stride and began reeling Kumar in. Alongside him surged Steve Solomon, the Australian veteran whose resume includes a 2012 Olympic final and years of reliability on the international stage. Kumar, who had spent all his energy early, now felt the inevitable weight of fatigue as his legs began to falter. The decisive moment came in the closing stretch. With supreme composure, Cox unleashed his finishing drive, powering across the line in 45.51 seconds, just shy of his lifetime best. It was more than a victory. It was a declaration that he was ready to take his place among the world's elite. Solomon, never far away, followed in 45.98 seconds, proving his enduring class more than a decade after his first major breakthrough. The fight for 3rd was desperately tight, but Gelenheis of Namibia snatched it in 46.51, edging out the fading Kumar by a mere 200ths. Elsewhere in the pack, there were personal triumphs worth celebrating. Jordan of St Vincent and the Grenadines, only 21 and better known as his nation's 800m champion, delivered a lifetime best of 47.29. Evidence that smaller nations, too, are carving their place on the sprinting map. For him and others like him, such improvements carry the weight of national pride, regardless of medals. Yet the story of the race was Cox. His win was not simply a qualifier. It was proof of resilience after disappointment, and another chapter in Jamaica's unmatched sprinting heritage. The island's fame usually rests on its 100m and 200m stars. But Cox's performance showed that its reach extends to the testing 400m as well. Still only 21, he now represents a bright future for Jamaica in an event where global dominance is fiercely contested. This heat epitomized what the Commonwealth Games deliver: tension, ambition, and drama at every turn. Cox, Solomon, and Gelenheis advanced with confidence. Kumar left with the respect owed to bold risk-taking. For the audience, it was another reminder of why the one-lap race remains one of the sport's most electrifying spectacles.